Hello and welcome to another episode of Pat Baer's Anime Club, an ongoing video series where every other Monday I put up a new video to explore something in the world of anime that interests me, that I want to chat about. And sometimes I talk about, manga, or I did a thing on visual novels or manhwa, South Korean comics. And this is no different. This is an exploration of light novels, specifically why the long name? Why do light novels have such a long name? I'm going to answer that. I'm going to do my best to answer that. I've kind of talked about it here and there, but I want to have it in a video along with some history. It is, of course, a thing that I've been threatening to do for a while. I've had this idea in the back, and I've postponed it because sometimes things come up, and I really want to chat about those things because it's like spur of the moment. And then also because this involved research, and I didn't want to do it. So I did it in bits and pieces over time. Sorry, I just moved my mouse a little bit here. It flew across the screen as I'm setting up my notes because, hey, I have notes for this one. First things first, a brief history lesson. This will not be long, but I will be talking to you about light novels and their history. So, what is it? Even before we get into the history lesson, let's talk briefly about what a light novel is. So, light novel is in many ways the equivalent of like children's books or young adult novels, maybe. Young adult novels might be there, but they're read by people from all different ages. But the target audience is like junior high, high school. It evolved from the pulp magazines, right? Pulp fiction, your short stories, or their anthologies of short stories. They happened all across the world, including Japan, and the Japanese pulp magazines in the 70s started to also have illustrations that you also would find later in light novels of, anime style or manga style illustrations to go along with the stories. And then also those magazines would have like video game coverage later on, but especially early on would have like music and anime and movie stuff because they were trying to appeal for that target demographic and also pad the pages so they could pay different kinds of writers. Now, part of the history of it. Let's talk about the term light novel and when it was coined. It is believed that was in the 1990s by Kamakita, Kamakita Keita, who was at the time the system operator for a very well-known BBS called Nifty Serve. And it had a science fiction and fantasy forum. And supposedly in that forum, Keita is the one that coined the term in the 90s. Let's talk about the grandmother of, like the grandmommy, Motoko Arai. The grandmommy of, or the grandmother, you could say. She has a bunch of weird nicknames. Those are some of them of light novels. Okay, so she's been interviewed quite a bit. The kind of style, the traditional style of a light novel that you can read these days and throughout. Reading on your phone, or actually buying the physical copy, or a tablet or whatever. That kind of snappy dialogue, the chatty kind of style. I'm looking over here. Science fiction fantasy writer. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. My apologies. But yeah, believed that she kind of popularized a lot of what we think of when we think of light novels. Also, here's a fun fact that it has nothing to do with this. She's believed to have coined the term otaku. So that's just a fun fucking fact for you, my friends. Okay, but why though? But what's with the long names, Pat? And it's all, honestly, it is simply like trying to draw your eye and draw your attention. Traditionally, of course, now digital light novels or web novels, as they're often called as well, you're going to be drawn to that by the title and a long list and maybe a short description. But if you go to a bookstore, you might not read the back of a book. You might only read the spine of it. So If you're walking up to the shelves, you might see the artwork, but you're probably going to read the spine title. And of course, you're going to be able to fit a full sentence there. It is believed that the longer titles started to become popular in the early 2000s, and they've kind of gone from there. It was joked today that if Bleach hadn't started as a manga but started as a light novel, it would be, there'd be a really long title for it about like, uh, I died trying to protect my family, but it turns out I'm now a Shinigami and I'm also the chosen one? Question mark. Whatever, it'd be something like that. Instead of just Bleach, which is just, according to the mangaka, a fun English word that he thought was neat. So that's it, really. This video could just be 35 seconds of me saying, hey, actually, the real answer is it's to draw the reader's eye, or perspective, Baer's eye, and giving them an explanation. So that's it, right, Pat? We're done with this video. No, I'm looking at the clock here, 6 minutes. We can talk a little bit more about this because while I have you here, my research gave me some fun things that I ended up typing out word for word instead of cutting and pasting. So here is the longest title in Japanese that I could find. I'm not going to try. There's Yusha, there's a hero in there. We've got a bunch, Ganbate, Nate Shimata. There's a lot in here. Yom, I know Yome in there. Daga, Tame. There's a lot of words in here that I'm like, I recognize these words. This is the longest light novel title that I could find. It's a dirty book. And the English rough translation is busy wizard. This warlock just wants to provide for his wives. Because of course they didn't do every word. But yeah, that's the longest Japanese one. Now what about English, Pat? What's the longest English one? Well, it's also a dirty book. And it's called Sew for Her. Strip her? Change her clothes. She screwed up her high school debut and became a shut-in. So I've ended up coordinating her youth. Fashion. Which is also, yeah, I mean, that is on the, I think that one's not like necessarily for adults, but it is like dirty. It's like jokingly dirty. It's ecchi, if I remember correctly. And then just to leave you saying, are all of them long, Pat? No. I found one that is very short. Esu. That's yaoi. Or, if you want to be a little bit more specific here, that is, of course, BL, some boys love for you. Explicit content. And I don't know why the written by that font looks a lot like Bleach font, but there. Probably because when it came out, somebody was trying to make you think maybe this is related. As far as I know, it's not. But yeah, Esu is the shortest title I could find. And that's me talking about light novels. Why the long name? It's just to draw the reader's eye. It is to give you an explanation because they don't think you're going to look at a short description. Now, maybe the light novels you will find on a shop that you'll be reading on your phone, perhaps those don't need to have those long titles. Not everyone does have a long title, of course. And if that is why you're wondering when you're looking at the list of anime that is coming out and you are like, so am a spider, so what? Why is that so long? Why is that title like that? Why are all these titles like this? What's going on here? Why is, and I'm going to look for an example here. Let me find an example of a current anime that is running right now. I got a cheat ability in a different world and became extraordinary even in the real world. That's a sentence. Why? Well, it's because somebody who wrote that wanted you in a bookstore to look at it on the spine and go, oh, yeah, all right. That's the only reason. And that's going to do it for Pat Baer's Anime Club, an ongoing video series where I take a look at something for the world of anime and beyond that I want to chat about. I don't know what I'm doing for my next video, so I would love a recommendation from you, a suggestion, I should say. Is there something you would like me to talk about in the world of anime? I did my recommendations for this month, so I probably won't do anything about current anime that's happening right now. But if there's any history, would you like to know more about mecha anime? Would you like to know more about another subgenre that interests you, like some romance stuff or anything like that? Should I get start talking about some of the animated stuff that is being co-produced by Japan? Um, I have threatened, quote unquote, threatened, kind of like doing this one. I have threatened that I maybe at some point would like to talk about the Crunchyroll originals and like go through all of those because that initiative seems to be done. So we could like talk about all of those, the best and the worst of those, and the fines, I guess. But I don't know, because especially because a couple of those have season twos that are out right now. Um, yeah, I think that's it. That's about all I wanted to say. Thanks so much for watching this. Hey, hit the like button. Leave a comment. I asked for some suggestions for future videos, so I'd love to hear from you. Or if you like know a lot about light novels and I got something wrong here, feel free to correct me. I'm fine with that. I'll leave a comment. I'll pin your comment with the correction. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Goodbye.